Today on Magic for Life, I'm excited to have James Sias. James is a 7-year veteran in the insurance space. He's built a system that anyone with an insurance license can plug into their existing business and generate additional residual revenue. He's one of the hosts on the Business Bros podcast, and he has some serious vision as an entrepreneur. I can't wait to share his story with you on today's episode of Magic for Life. I've spent the last 20 years studying, teaching, and coaching people to find their greatness and take their lives to the next level. Along the way, it's become evident that emotions are at the root of everybody's successes and failures. Worry and fear are the enemies, and it's time to forge the armor and earn the tools to overcome the two things that could single-handedly destroy your future. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson, and I'm a life coach, a peak performance trainer, and I'm the emotions guy. It's time to take back control of how you feel, control of how you act, and control of how you experience life. It's time to become a lifer, a new breed of overachiever focused on living every minute to its fullest. We are responsible for how we feel, and no one and no thing can make us feel anything. Emotional mastery is our journey, and emotional education and intelligence is the key. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life. What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast. I'm excited you joined me today, and we are so privileged and honored to have the great James Sias on our show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, Michael. Thanks so much for inviting me on. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. It's always exciting. Now, I had the honor of being a guest at your show, and you guys are amazing. You and your brother put on a show together, and you have your own show as well. We'll get into that some more too, and hopefully we'll get some people to come in and learn more about you. But you're a pretty awesome guy, and so I thought, what better way to start? Because maybe if my audience doesn't know about you yet, they're gonna know the great James, and I'm sure you've got an interesting story. I've heard your story, though, a little bit, but it's from your brother's perspective. And so I'm sure he didn't tell it properly. So,
Probably, that'll be interesting to hear what he had to say.
So give me a little bit of intro on your backstory. Like, what in the heck got you to this point where you're doing your own podcast? You're doing one with your brother. You guys are running a business. You have your own business. Holy cow. Like, you're doing so much stuff. Like, how did you get to this point? Like, go back to the beginning.
Yeah, I was going to say, how far back do you want me to go?
When I was
okay, so I started out my story not too long ago with this awesome birthmark that I have right here. That is, you can barely see it with the screen with everything we've got going on, but it's a heart-shaped spot on my arm. And essentially, what that has done for me, what that says about me and my personality, is that I undeniably wear my heart on my sleeve. Nice. I am just honest and open and authentic as they come. And as a kid, I cried a lot. We have a lot of family photos where I'm, crying in the background. As a young tween, I had a very volatile temper. I'll tell you a quick story. The worst that it got was I broke the leg off of a table and chased my brothers around with it. Yeah. Crazy, just emotional, right?
Okay.
And then as a young man, I got my heart broken, and that sent me into the Navy. Now, when all of that was going on, my brother and I had built a business around computers. I was going to people's houses and fixing computers. I was a computer guy. Right. When I got my heart broken and skipped off to the Navy, I left my brother holding the bag. So all of that, again, coming from this just emotional, person that I have been in the past. So I spent almost 8 years in the Navy, and during that time, my brother had to shut down that business. He actually went bankrupt at that time. Somehow still got his amazing wife to marry him, even though he had no cash and was, no, they were very much in love, and it was great. But so when I came back, I kind of in my own heart, he never held me to it, but in my own heart, I felt that I owed it to him to, build something with him and not ditch him because of whatever emotional situations that I was going through. So I got back out of the Navy and he asked me what I was going to do. I said, I'm going to go to school and use my GI Bill. He said, cool. So we're also going to build an insurance business. I said, all right, I guess we're building an insurance business then. So I went and got licensed and did all that stuff. And then, a couple years down the line, he's listening to all these different podcasts and all these different influencers, and they're all telling him to start a podcast, start a podcast, start a podcast. So he comes to me and says, hey, we're going to start a podcast. I said, okay, that sounds cool. He said, we're going to do it every day. I said, we're going to do what now? He said, yeah, we're going to do it every day. I was like, oh, crap. All right, you got it. Like, I had this, weight that I carried that I just owed him. And so we've been doing our daily podcast, The Business Bros, for almost 2.5 years now. And I just started my own show, The Insurance Bro Show, in September this year. So been going at that one for a little over a month now.
Nice. And does he still do insurance too, or just you?
No, actually, he never did. He did get his life insurance license, but I was the one that was doing all of that work. He's the accountant for the company.
I see.
So
hey, brother, we're gonna do insurance now. Go learn it.
Yeah. He had all these different licenses already. He was doing taxes. He was doing real estate. He was working on his teaching credential. He had gone through a notary license. He had built 3, 4, 5 businesses. By this time, I mean, he was busy.
Yeah.
But he's like, go do this one. I'm like, all right, bro, I got you.
Nice. Well, most people are like, hey, I want to learn this because I really dig this and I really fell in love with this idea, this concept. He said, go do insurance. And you're like, sure, okay, whatever. Like, why insurance? Like, just because you needed a job, or?
More than anything, it really was his influence. The fact that he had the partnership with guys that owned an insurance agency, it would have been really easy. It was really easy for me to get the license and do everything that I needed to.
Yeah.
And I always tell this story, that when I started with insurance, it was I just landed into it. But when I really started it as a business, I was like, well, everybody's got to buy insurance. Why not buy it from me? Right? Everybody's got to have it. Why not buy it from me? Right. That didn't work out very well. It's not a great mindset. Talking about mindset, it's not a great mindset to have going into a business. Some years ago, a couple of years ago, I started shifting my focus and asking myself, how can I help people? Yeah, sure, everybody has to have insurance. Why not buy it from me? But how can I actually help people when they're buying this thing that they have to buy anyway? How can I be of service? And that really, a lot of it stemmed from our podcast, because when we started, our number one rule, and it still is the number one rule in business, is be of service to others.
Sure. And that's so true. I mean, it was such an honor to be on your show. You guys were so welcoming, and you did, you guys did a great job. And I felt like it was a service for me, and I was the guest on the show. You guys were great. So if you don't listen to the show yet, you're going to have to go look them up, and we'll get you all the links and everything to go find them.
Yeah.
So, you talked about some of the troubling years, and you forgive me for digging into some of that, but like as entrepreneurs, I feel like so many of us end up feeling like we're the only ones that these troubling times happen to. It's like all of a sudden we put ourselves on an island and we're like, well, nobody else understands and nobody gets what I'm going through. But when you decided, before we kind of jump into the depths of that, you said, okay, this girl broke your heart, and so you went to the Navy. Like, you blew me away. Like, okay, maybe that sounds normal to you, but I don't know anybody that's like, hey, my girlfriend dumped me, I think I'll join the Navy. So what in the heck was going through your mind when you decided to do that?
First of all, there's a lot of people that I met in boot camp that had a similar path. It's really not that uncommon.
Really?
A lot of people will join the Navy because they want to get away from something. Right, whether it's a broken heart or a bad relationship, or they want to get out of mom and dad's house, whatever the case might be. They want to get away from something, or they want to get out of their small towns. Some people, very few people, join the military, join the Navy because they want to serve their country. Like, there's not a lot of that. People either want to get away from something or they want to get the free college. So that's a lot of the that's not everybody. I mean, there are people out there that are like, I want to serve my country, but it's definitely the minority. What was going through my mind? Shoot. I got broken up with in November. My birthday's in November. And I remember driving home from my cousin's birthday party, who is like 10 years younger than me, or 15 years younger than me, something like that. And so he would have been turning like 7, and it was at Chuck E. Cheese or whatever, and it was in LA. So I had a 2-hour drive back home, and I swear to God, like, I wanted to just drive the car into the center divide and just like not have to worry about any of this stuff anymore. Just end it all. It's over. I'm done. But again, that's like my emotional self, right? I didn't drive the car into the center divide.
And thank goodness.
And thank goodness. But basically, when I got home from that drive, it was just, just a terrible, terrible drive. And I think like the next day I went to the recruiter's office and was like, yo, I got to get out of here. Yeah. I gotta get gone.
Yeah.
So,
well, maybe not so terrible after all then. I mean,
the Navy was not that bad. I definitely was not a career guy. 7 years, 7 months, and 21 days. That's as long as I could handle.
7 years.
7 months and 21 days, almost 8 years.
Oh, I thought like a term was like 4 years or something.
It is, like an idiot. Well, I wouldn't say like an idiot. Okay, so I had this conversation on my last deployment, and the guy that I'm talking to, he says, "Listen, you have busted your ass for the past 5 years on this ship, right? You have done your sea service. You owe it to yourself to do some shore duty. When you go to shore, it's a completely different life from being at sea, from being on a ship. You get a lot more time off. It's a set schedule. You can go to school, get your associate's degree, and then when you get out, you use your GI Bill to get your master's." I'm like, that sounds awesome. That's a great idea. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to re-enlist so I can go to shore duty and get this done. So I do all of that. I go to shore duty. I sign up for school. I get everything going. And 10 days before I'm supposed to start school so I can get my associates before I get out of the Navy, they tell me, cancel all your classes. We're sending you I was stationed in Maryland. We're sending you to San Diego so you can deploy with the Mercy. I'm like, are you kidding me? So basically from that point, it was like, yep, F the Navy. I'm done. I'm out. They ruined all my plans. I'm supposed to have, super clean cut. Like, I'm supposed to shave every day, really nice haircut, all this stuff. And like, I would go days without shaving. I let my hair grow out, and I was just waiting for somebody to say something, and I'd be like, Phoebus. FUB, I'm short, meaning I'm a short timer. I ain't got that much time left. I'm out of here in 122 days. Do not even try.
Wow. So you actually served on a ship?
Yeah, the USS Enterprise.
That's a carrier, right?
It is. It is. And I worked like on the flight deck.
Massive.
Huge.
What did you do?
The floating city. I worked on the flight deck. I directed aircraft and tied them down when they landed and when they were taken off.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it sounds like a pretty cool job to have if you're going to be there. Yeah. You might as well get to see all these cool planes and stuff.
It was incredible. Undeniably just an awesome experience. Some of the most memorable things in my life, the most golden, beautiful sunrises that I've ever seen, and something that like still pulls at my heart. Stars dancing on the water.
I have no idea, but that sounds amazing.
It was incredible. It was just a clear night. I was working night shift, and I'm standing out on the flight deck, and I just look over, and the water was like glass, it was just really flat, not a lot of movement. But what little movement there was, I mean, the stars reflecting on the water, it was like the stars were just bouncing and the stars were dancing. And I just sat there and watched it for like 10 minutes, and
Dang.
it was
That's what it's
gorgeous.
about right there.
Yeah, man. Those are the things that, it kind of makes everything worth it, because trust me, there's so much crap in the Navy. There's just so
Yeah.
much crap that we have to deal with. But those little things, it's like, yeah, that's what life's about.
Well, I was going to ask you this about, being in the insurance business. And so you can kind of combine the answers, I suppose. But, when things weren't working out and things kind of sucked for
Mhm.
you, being on the ship and you didn't want to be there, being deployed, you didn't want to be there. I'm sure in business you found that too. There's some things about business for all of us as entrepreneurs that just suck. And you're like, okay, this
Mhm.
sucks. I didn't really get into this to do this, but I have to do it, have to get through that, have to get that done because it's part of what we do. How have you found to keep pushing yourself through those moments?
It has varied. I was more religious. I grew up in a religious household, and it was always a fallback. It was
Sure.
always like, when life is tough, I can go back to church. I can fall back on God. I can, whatever. Um, so in my Navy years, I definitely did a lot of that. There was a lot of prayer, and um, just Bible reading, and putting my trust in God and all this stuff. After 2009, 2010, so it's been about 10 years. um I dropped all the religion out of my life. It's non-existent at this point. I consider myself agnostic. I grew up in a religious household, and I've seen God work in, people's lives. um but it's at this point, I'm like, what, just I can't say that it exists or doesn't. So but for me, it's not there these days. It's all about introspection and journaling. A lot
Right.
of introspection and journaling and goal setting and figuring out what the next step is going to be.
Sure. Sure. Self-awareness is
Hmm.
king, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
um, and it's amazing the things that come from that. And in so many instances, regardless of what people believe in their particular religions or not, because I've dealt with so many different peoples and walks of life, it sure seems like it still comes down to that self-awareness and being able to dig in and really figure out who you are, what you are, why you are.
Yep.
And it makes a big difference. You know, eh, I kind of believe in this idea of what you focus on, you get,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, it's unbiased. And so sometimes people tend to focus on bad stuff. Sometimes people focus on good stuff, and who knows what's good and bad. So, over the last 5 years, since you've been doing your insurance and doing your businesses with your brother and the stuff that you're up to right now, what has been your primary thing to focus on, and how did you maintain that focus, to find the success that you've found thus far?
What's the primary thing that I'm focused on?
Yeah.
I think it's been my vision. So I joined this mastermind group called Junto Global, and one of the things that they had me work on was to develop my vision. There was this whole sheet, this whole there's even a book that's written about it. But this vivid vision is just extremely clear picture of what I want my life to look like in 3 years. They had me, close my eyes and take myself to this place where it's 3 years from now. And I'm asking myself, think of the people that are around me. Think of my dog who's laying right here next to me right now. How old will she be in 3 years? In 3 years, she might not be with us anymore. right? She's 9 years old at this point. Her breed, the lifespan is 10 to 12 years. So in 3 years, she might not be here anymore. So it's, thinking about that detail and how does that change my life? How old are my partners going to be? How old is my nesting partner going to be? How old is my other partner going to be? How old is my niece and nephew, my brother, his wife, all these different people in my life, my parents, how old are they going to be? And it just like kind of fast forwarding to that place and starting, okay, so when we're all this age, how old am I going to be? I'm going to be, almost 40 in 3 years. So, or I will be 40 in 3 years if it's November. And starting from that point, like, what does 40-year-old me do? What does 40-year-old me do on a daily basis? What does my work life look like? What does my home life look like? Thinking about the space around me. Am I still in this same apartment, or am I in a different apartment now? Am I in a house now? What does my room look like? What does my office look like? What is, all of these different things, just really, really digging deep into the details and when I'm transporting myself, so that, the more detailed that I can make that vivid vision, the better I can structure my goals. Because it starts for me with that vivid vision, which is 3 years. And then I work backwards. Okay, if that's what I want my life to look like in 3 years, what do I have to do this year? And then work backwards again. Okay, if that's what I want, if that's what I need to do this year, what do I need to do this quarter? Okay, if this is what I need to do this quarter, what do I need to do this month? What do I need to do this week? What do I need to do today? So that vivid vision is that's the ultimate, goal where I want to be. But doing a weekly plan and even planning my one thing every day that I need to get done takes me each day a step closer to that ultimate vivid vision.
I love that. And such a cool way to go about that. I mean, it sounds like you've got it put together. And for so many entrepreneurs, it seems that uh ironically, we tend not to have problems with the vision, but we do tend to have problems pinning it down. and and going, well, I had like 7 visions of what I wanted to do next year, and people are like, well, which one do you want to do? And you're like, yeah, yes, well, that one sounds good. And so people just don't do it. They don't focus on that thing. That's really cool. I love too that you had mentioned masterminds, and I joined a couple this year that it's just a great reminder. I mean, you go back to some of the great books like Think and Grow Rich, and I know it's easy to kind of forget now that it's public domain. It's easy to forget that it had such power and such influence on our generation. And one of the main things, if you haven't read it, you should go read it, is literally about masterminds and being part of one, even if it's just 3 people that are of like-minded capacity, and to be able to get that. And I think it's always great and encouraging, and I hope my audience is hearing this right now. Like, you need to be part of a mastermind, and it's so valuable. And I can totally hear it in your voice, James. Like, I can hear it in how you're speaking about how powerful that has been for you. And I'll tell you, I can attest to that too. Like, the masterminds I've been part of this year, they've just been invaluable, and it's kind of amazing. So that's so cool to hear another entrepreneur that is having success, and it's like, oh yeah, you have your mastermind too. And it's like so good to remind each other. And so I hope my other entrepreneurs here, all of my lifers out here in Magic for Life land, are hearing that and going, yeah, hey, you know what? Why am I not in a mastermind? Like, there are so many different types of masterminds. Like, you can have some from your local groups that are free to go to. You can have your expensive masterminds. I have the ones that I'm going to that I am striving to attain to get into someday. And I look at that and I go, I'm going to be in that mastermind when my time is right for that. And right now, you know, you have some that are paid, you have some that are like really inexpensive, you have some that are like sort of mid-range expensive. So you got to find the right one for you. But to not be in a mastermind, there's not really an excuse for it. Not as an entrepreneur these days. You know, it seems crazy not to go do that.
100%. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like my mom always said, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. Right.
Yeah.
So we all read it as you are the average sum of the 5 closest people around you. Right. My mom
Yeah.
just simplified it and said, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
so true.
that's the power of mastermind groups. You know, you surround
yeah.
yourself with the people that you strive to be like, and people that are you know, on the same wavelength, the same growth path as you are.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with a bunch of people that just like to drink beer and kick back every weekend and, you know, not do anything, cool. Like nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But that's what you're going to do, and that's where you're going to end up. And
Yeah.
I want to surround myself with people who are motivated and driven just like I am, because the more motivated and driven people I have around me, the
Oh, yeah.
the higher my accountability is going to be. And, you know, I'm just going to get better by being around them.
Yeah, for sure. You know, one of my favorite things from Anthony Robbins, I mean, I like the guy. He teaches a lot of amazing things, but one of the quotes that he's known for is the quality of our life is the quality of our communication. And
Mhm.
while that's important, I think outwardly to other people, and you and I know that we both have our podcasts and we both communicate to people on a regular basis. And I'm sure from your beginning episode, I know from mine to now, you know, our communication has changed and our ability to communicate what we're talking about has changed. So like right now, I think the thing that is a huge question for me based off of watching you and learning more about you and your stuff that you're doing in the background and just the impact that you're having on the business community as a whole, with your podcast and the great things you're doing. Like there's something going on in here that's really positive. And so when we talk about communication, we're usually talking about outward, but like inside, we are all communicating with ourselves. Inside, we're all saying things to ourselves that help us stay positive and help us keep going. What kind of things do you find yourself saying to yourself? I mean, I know that like in the old days, it was like, oh, if you're talking to yourself, you're crazy. I'm thinking, no, nowadays, if you're not talking to yourself, you're crazy. Like, what are you doing? You're dead. You're dead if you're not talking to yourself, right? So what kind of things do you feel like are you saying to keep yourself positive, and like literally what kind of things are you saying?
Yeah, sure. So, you know, it ebbs and flows just like with, you know, emotions, right? Some days you wake up and you feel like crap, and it's hard on those days for me to, you know, if I wake up and I don't feel great, or if I don't feel great, period, I can't just turn around and tell myself I'm an awesome businessman, I'm the best there is, I'm, you know, everything, because I don't believe that.
Right.
Right? Like in that moment, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
But what I can do is say, you know what? I'm pretty good at business stuff, right? Like in a general sense, I'm pretty good. I am pretty good at creating systems. You know, I've done a great job in my business in creating automations and putting systems together and building a team. And my team members like me. In fact, they have told me multiple times that I'm the best boss that they've ever had. And, you know, I am relatively successful. I'm doing pretty good. You know, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I can see the path and it looks like I'm getting there. I you know, I have a great life. I have 2 partners who are amazing, who I love completely and who love me. And, you know, I've built, you know, this really good nest egg right now. You know, I've done a great job of building the foundations of my business. There's a lot more room left to grow, but we've done a good job in just laying the foundation, and we have all the pieces in place, and we're just ready to rock and roll, and we're ready to take it to the next level. You know, it's starting with what I can actually believe in that moment and creating and building the momentum.
Yeah, I love that. I teach this thing about making things a little, you have a choice every moment. You have a choice to make it a little better or a little worse.
Yep.
And you like literally just did that. It was beautiful because you were like, well, sometimes you just feel like crap. And you can't just go from feeling like crap to being like, everything's amazing, you know,
Right.
because you're not going to believe it. And so I just love listening to the process and to the concept of how you progressed through that. And we can all learn from that. Oh my goodness. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one. If your listeners want to hear this one, it's just a matter of like writing this down. This is one that I've used in the past. I haven't used it in a while. I haven't had to.
Right.
But on those like really, really low days, it's writing down like, how do I feel? I feel terrible about business right now. Okay, that's
Right.
just the statement,
Right.
right? And then you write down another statement underneath it, whether it's true or not. Just the next thought. Okay, I feel terrible about business right now. Okay, the next thought is, I'm a terrible business person. Does that make me feel better or worse than the previous statement? Right? It makes me feel worse. It doesn't make me feel good. Okay, so let's move on to the next statement. I do okay at business. Okay, I feel a little bit better. Right.
Yeah.
The next one is, I suck at everything, right? I can't do anything right. Okay, that feels worse. And you
Right.
just kind of keep going through these thoughts and writing down these different thoughts. And the point of the game, if you want to call it a game, is to start going after and writing down as many thoughts that feel better as opposed to worse.
Right. I
So
love that. That's awesome. And it's something we can do, and it's not that hard.
yeah, no,
Right.
not at all. It's just writing down your thoughts and
Yeah.
does that make me feel better or does that make me feel worse? Okay, that makes me feel worse. I want to choose to feel better, right? If I'm feeling bad, if I'm not feeling great, that's my choice,
Yeah.
and I don't want to feel bad. Like who wants to feel bad? Do you want to feel bad?
No way.
No, I like to feel good. Feeling good feels good. So I want to find ways to make myself feel good. And a lot of times it just comes down to, writing down these thoughts and discovering the ones that feel the best and going after more of those.
Yeah. It's amazing how much old school education is out there these days about this idea that you should feel bad in order to get good things, or you need to suffer in order to get good things.
Mhm.
And it's really phenomenal to me how many people I run across. And so if you're out there, lifers, listening to this, and you're one of those, we need to have a chat, right? Like, because you don't have to feel bad to feel good. Like there is no
Yeah.
rule that says you must suffer in order to feel good. Like it's crazy. It seems like it's baloney. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, I mean, in a lot of ways it is. I don't think personally that anything's just going to fall into my lap, right? If I
Right.
want a successful business, I have to work at it.
Right.
There's a lot that I need to do to make my business successful. I can't just sit here and like wish it into existence. At
Right.
least I don't believe that. So the struggle is real when you have to put work into getting the things that you want. But, the work doesn't have to be painful.
Right.
How I approach my work today is so much different than it was before. I told you before it was, well, everybody's got to buy insurance. Why not buy it from me? Today, it's I'm inspired to spread positivity and empower others to create wealth for today and generational wealth for tomorrow so that we all might thrive in life's abundance and pass that opportunity on to those we hold dear. Sounds rehearsed a little bit?
I was thinking, gosh, you should like write that down if you haven't already.
It's right in front of me
Nice.
on my computer. That is my why statement. If you've seen Simon Sinek's
Start with why.
TED Talk, start with why.
Yeah.
And then I read his book or listened to his book. I listen to all my books now.
So do I.
Listen to his book, Finding Your Why.
Yeah.
And that is, that gave me that really deep introspective look at like, what am I doing and why am I doing it? What do I really want to do for people, for the world? for the people that I am privileged enough to influence. And that's what I want to do. I want to help people create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow. I want people to be successful. I want people to, there's enough of a pie for all of us, right? There's an infinite amount of resources. I mean, I say infinite, obviously it's finite because the earth is only so big, but literally there's enough to go around. Like
Sure.
I always say this, there's enough resources in the world right now to solve homelessness and to cure world hunger. There's just, people are greedy, and we've got, look, Jeff Bezos, like, more power to you. You're incredible. You're awesome. Everything that you've done. But come on, man, $200 billion. Like, how much do you really need? Like, I don't know how much money could go out there to solve like these real issues, these real problems for so much of society. If we were able to make some significant changes, but it's a whole other issue.
Okay, so I want to go into our our lightning round.
Let's do it.
We call it the go-to emotions segment. And this is fun. So you said earlier you wear your heart on your sleeve, so this will be perfect for you. So for this, I'll give you a category and ask what your go-to emotion is when things are going well, and your limiting emotion when things are going poorly in that category. So first category is business. When things are going well in business, what's your go-to emotion?
Excited and optimistic.
Okay. And when things are going poorly, what's the limiting emotion?
Pessimism and self-doubt.
Okay. And in partnerships, you've got a bunch. In your partnerships, when things are going well, what's your go-to emotion?
Oh man, love.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And when things are going poorly, what's your limiting emotion?
Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fear.
And, obviously you have a team that you work with, and you have a group that looks to you to guide them and coach them. So when you're in a coaching situation where you're working with others, when things are going well, what's your go-to emotion?
Confidence.
And when things are going poorly, what's your limiting?
Ooh, I guess it's back to that self-doubt. Yeah. Am I even good enough? Like the imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Okay. And you said you're part of a mastermind, and so you clearly have had coaching, like we should all have coaching. And when you are being coached, when you're the student, and things are going well, what's your go-to emotion?
Oh man. I wish I had like that emotion wheel, you know? Kind of getting back to that optimism and hopefulness, when I'm being coached, it's like, hell yeah, I can do this.
Nice. And when things are going poorly, what's your limiting emotion?
There's going to be a pattern here. Self-doubt, it's always that fear that like, I'm just not good enough.
Yeah. So true. Okay. And in relationships, when things are going well, what's your go-to?
Things are going well. I mean, love is an easy one, but let me think of something different. I think I'm going to say fun.
Okay.
Fun. Enjoyment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when things are going poorly, what's the limiting emotion?
Man, it's just sadness when things aren't going well, like brokenheartedness.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
And you don't have kids? You didn't mention any kids.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, but you do have that.
She's laying down right here.
You do have that kid laying on the ground right there. And I know, because I've got my own, and I've had many through the years. And so they're kind of like our kids. There's no doubt about it. So we're going to pretend, because that's your kid, right? So in regards to your baby, what is your go-to emotion when things are going well?
Overjoyed.
That's why
Yeah,
we,
just
that's why we have them, right?
that's why we don't deserve dogs.
Yeah.
Humans don't deserve dogs.
It's so true.
That's
That's so true. And
uh,
when things are going poorly, what's the limiting emotion?
oh man, when things are going poorly, it's because she's being bad. So I'm just mad at her. But honestly, she's getting up in years, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to,
Yeah, for sure.
what's gonna come in probably about 3 years. I'm just not looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Well, you know what? It has been such a pleasure to have you join us today, but I can't let you go without giving you a shot to tell everybody about all the cool things you're doing. Tell us about your podcasts. Tell us about what people can buy from you.
Sure, sure.
Tell us about all the things you're up to.
Yeah, sure. So I guess I'll start with the podcast. I've got my own show, which is at Insurance Bros Show on all your social media. The show that I do with my brother, that's our longer running show. Find us there at Business Bros Pod all over all of our social media. If you are in the financial industry, so if you're a real estate agent, a lender, tax professional, even if you're in the insurance business and you're not necessarily happy with your broker right now, go to www.pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities and learn how you can be a pipeline insurance agent and get to work with me.
Cool. That's awesome. And so do you actually like work with people one-on-one for their insurance needs, or do you is it your team that works with them? Like, is somebody going to be able to come and work with you directly, or is it your team and your group that they're going to work with?
So I am I'm directly involved. I created all of the training curriculum. The training curriculum is all recorded at this point, so it's very self-paced. You can get through the coursework and the material on your own time.
Yeah.
And then I check in with you on for the first 90 days while you're getting onboarded, every week, 1 week to 3 weeks, somewhere in that range, depending on where you are in the program. Lots of communication between us, so we're definitely talking a lot.
Cool.
My team is the one that does a lot of the processing work as you're getting, acclimated and figuring out how to do things. My team does a lot of the processing work, but we'll have a lot of communication as well as we're getting through that.
That's awesome. Well, I hope.
And then and then we also have a sales coach as part of the team as well.
Nice.
So you're working with plenty of people that can help you be successful in the insurance space.
Nice. And it seems like you love it. It seems like you love what you do. And that's one of the reasons we wanted you to come on the show, because I love it when I meet passionate entrepreneurs that love what they're doing. And gosh, it's sure been a pleasure to get to know you better. And I know our audience is going to feel the same way. So we'll put all those links in the descriptions, and make sure you go follow his podcasts, and we will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks again. Have a great one.
Hey, lifers, don't forget to get your free copy of the Every Minute Book. You can find it at everyminutebook.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.